Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of Buying Your Home. I'm Joe Maez.
I'm Amar Neshwat. Welcome back, folks.
Excellent. So we're happy to have you. Last week we talked about the first things you need to do in episode 1, which was getting pre-qualified. We explained all of that. This week we're going to talk about searching for your new home and how you do that. We're going to talk about some do's and don'ts, all right? So Amar and I are going to touch into that. You've already been pre-qualified. Now, some don'ts. All right, we see a lot of people, guys, and again, this is just a guy that sold over 4,000 properties, giving you a little bit of advice, trying to save you some time. Time is ultimately money, so let me tell you some of the don'ts. We see some people driving around, calling on signs, just driving neighborhoods. Remember last week, you already found out what you're qualified for, what you feel comfortable with from a monthly payment perspective, or if you're paying cash, you know how much cash you have on hand to spend on a property. But we still see people driving around, calling on signs, and really wasting a lot of time because you're qualified for $250,000 and you're driving a neighborhood and you're calling on the sign and the house is $500,000.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear it all the time. I get phone calls from borrowers that say, "Hey, I'm here in front of this house. Can somebody show it to me, or can you tell me how much it is?"
And then we see a lot of people getting on real estate websites. Guys, there's Zillow, there's Realtor.com. There's Trulia, there's those sites that are out there. And a lot of you guys are out there just checking out stuff, believing the payments that are actually on those. All right. So tell us about that.
So I do see a lot of people call me and say, "You know what? This property that I found online is only $1,300 a month. And that should fit my budget because I'm paying that in rent right now." So a lot of times those websites, they bring in these payments to reel people in and say, "You know what? This is how much you'll be paying each month." But guess what? That's with 20% down or more. That's with perfect credit. That's in a perfect world. That's with a lower rate. So you really want to get the payment scenario from your professional lender, no matter who it is.
Right. So those are don'ts, guys. So let's talk about the do's. Now, we already kind of led you on the right path. We did. We told you to go get pre-qualified first or meet with somebody in the financial arena to set some clear expectations on what's going to make you comfortable. At the same token, why not hire a professional real estate broker? Okay. Now, if you do what you do every day, somebody like me does what I do every day and do it at a really high level and can cut out a lot of time and a lot of hassle and save you a lot of money. Okay. So let's talk about the do's of interviewing a realtor, selecting a broker to help you find a home. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, we want to go direct to the owner. We want to buy a for sale by owner." This is one more don't. Why would you do that? Have you ever written up a purchase agreement before? Do you know how appraisals work? Do you know how are you going to buy a house as is with no inspections? What's the seller's experience? What are they disclosing? So do you see what I'm getting at? You're kind of, unless you've sold real estate before at a really high level and you understand, there's a lot of people out there that said, "I used to be a realtor." Well, the key word is used to. They used to be a realtor, and there's probably a reason why they're not in that arena anymore, because it's very complicated and it takes a lot of work. So interviewing a real estate agent. So let's talk about that. Number one, do your research, guys. There's so many people out there that make so many mistakes, right, Amar?
Absolutely.
Because they don't interview.
Yeah.
They're not interviewing people. So what are some things that folks should do when they're looking for a real estate agent?
So they should always explore who they're going to talk to. At least 3 different brokers, is my opinion, and find out, "Hey, I'm going to list my home and buy another home." That's what I hear in a lot of cases. And you see a lot of listing appointments every week, and you really want to know the ins and outs of the property and what the comparables in your area are going to look like, and you're going to give them all the full details they need to know.
So let's talk about interviewing at least 3 agents. And I think that's huge, guys, because if more people did their research, they'd make less mistakes. All right. Absolutely. So if you do, a lot of times there's a saying out there, at a weak moment, you can end up with a weak agent, right? Because it's just a convenience thing. "Oh, my auntie is a real estate agent. I'm going to use her." Why? Because I owe it to her. Well, the truth is you don't owe her anything, and you definitely don't owe me anything, but you surely owe yourself the best, right? And so that's where you got to do your research. So some ways to find people, guys, there are, so Zillow, Realtor.com, online Google reviews. That's a good way to start looking at agents and selecting who you want to interview. Okay, this is a big deal. This is your purchase. So selecting somebody based off of great reviews. Now, you got to look at these reviews because some of these reviews people can
Outdated.
they're outdated, or they can doctor it. And online, you can see who sold how many homes in the last 365 days. So then it shows you that they're active. Okay.
And the biggest thing is I see is the laws keep changing in the real estate world, and we're up to date on everything. Every time we get a new update from the Real Estate Commission, we know about it right off the bat.
Right. And so again, so that's number one. Number two, I would say just word of mouth, asking friends that you know in the past that have, sold properties, saying, hey, who would you use, right? Or who's the best broker out there? A referral is probably one of the more solid ways to select one of the 3 people that you're going to interview, right? And then just researching those people. Now, what are some questions you can ask these people? So now you have 3 brokers, you're going to interview them. Let's ask them some questions. What are some questions that maybe a buyer or, can ask a real estate broker that's important for them to know when they're interviewing these 3 real estate
Main
brokers?
question I hear is, Joe, how long have you been doing this?
Right? I mean, great question. How long have you been doing this? Guys, there's a lot of people, especially when the market was hot. There's so many agents coming in saying, I'm going to be a real estate agent. It's fun, flashy. You got all these people, taking Instagram photos in front of somebody else's car in a suit with motivational, quotes. But guys, that's cool and everything, but this is business, right? So how long have you been in business? There's nothing wrong myself, I've been in it 19, almost 19 years right now. But even if you're a first-year broker, it's not a bad thing. It's who are you aligning yourself with? The days of, individual agents are coming to an end. So it's not bad to be a first-year broker. It's just who is overseeing you, who's supervising you, who does that broker have access to? So there's nothing wrong with that. And you got to feel comfortable. It's kind of like if you're going in for open heart surgery and you really want to see your family. Do you want the surgeon that's completed 4,000 surgeries? Or do you want the person, or you want the guy that's going to say, hey, this is my first one. Let's try it out. Hey, wish me luck, on this deal. So guys, that's why I say, ask the questions. All right. What's another question? So we said, how long have you been doing it?
How many homes have you sold?
Right.
That's a big
Great
one.
question. How many transactions have you completed successfully? Right. How many transactions have you completed successfully? And I think that's super huge. Why? You want to know what kind of experience? After, almost 19 years doing this and over 4,000 transactions, you learn a lot along the way. You learn a lot on how to serve people and make sure that they get, the service that they deserve. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So great question. What's another one?
Do you have an app I can use where I can look up homes rather than go online?
That's huge, guys. And here's why. Because a lot of times Zillow, Realtor.com, truly are great apps. But the problem is you're going to get confused when 20 different real estate agents that advertise on there start calling you. They start hounding you and you get pulled in several different directions. There's a saying that I like to say, distractions kill dreams,
Yes.
right? So if you're being distracted by all these different agents versus sticking with one broker and accomplishing your mission, your dreams are more likely to come to fruition, right?
Absolutely.
And at the Mayas Group, we have our app, our in-house app, that allows you to drive around town, and when it's GPS, it's powered with GPS.
Yeah.
So when you're parked in front of a house and you have questions about it, it automatically reads your location and tells you everything about that property. And if you want to schedule an appointment, you just click schedule a showing, and your broker with the Mayas Group
Absolutely.
shows you the property at a time that's convenient for you. All right. Another question that you should probably ask is, what's your support staff? What does your operation look like? There's a lot of folks out there that are real estate agents, but here at the Mayas Group, I'll just tell you what we do is we have 3 licensed admins. So these are licensed professionals that can talk real estate. So if I'm in here shooting an episode for, potential customers or just to educate people down the road, somebody at the front desk or somebody can answer your question from a position of strength. And they can truly do that because they're licensed. Okay. So I have a team. I also have 6 brokers that are on purpose. These people are in the office. They're ready to show you a house at any given time. Let's say, for instance, your perfect house comes on the market and it's 7 p.m. Most people are having dinner at that time. Chances are one of these 6 brokers or myself will be able to show you that house at a time that works for you. Right?
So accommodation's huge with the Maez Group.
Huge. But you got to ask these questions like what are the resources that you have, right? Another thing that we do, right, is we have our in-house lender. We have somebody right next door that on a Sunday, if you want to make an offer on a house, we can get an updated pre-qual letter or pre-approval letter for you instantaneously. In fact, the Maez Group can generate offers in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
And speed is everything, especially when it comes to making an offer on a house, especially if there's going to be multiple offers. The excuse of, hey, I have 3 people in front of you that I'm helping is not going to cut it when it comes to your, you should feel like the only customer that's out there.
And you'd be surprised. I mean, I hear it from borrowers all the time is how much is a realtor going to cost me when I go buy this house? Right. That's a big thing that people don't understand, that it's the sellers who pay the buyer's agents.
Most of the time, guys, most of the time, I'd say, again, commissions are disclosed these days, but almost, 99.9% of the time, the seller's going to be paying a buyer's agent's fee. So why would you not, we have a saying here, when it comes to real estate, you have choices. Why not choose the best? That's like being able to get the best attorney for the same price that you would, pick somebody that was just fresh out of law school,
Absolutely.
Right? Or just passed the bar. So think about that. Ask the questions, guys, because if you knew more about it, then you'd make better decisions. Truth?
Absolutely.
What else? What else is a really good question?
Selecting the homes that I want to see is important because you don't want to bombard people with 30 houses, do you?
Well, now you've said, yeah, excellent. So now we lead into searching for homes. So you've selected your real estate agent because you've asked all the right questions and you feel comfortable with somebody's expertise. Let's talk about searching for homes. A good real estate broker that you selected should have interviewed you, should have listened to what your lifestyle is like, where you want to live, your needs and wants, and puts the right houses in front of you. Okay, they're putting the right houses in front of you. If you wanted a single-story home, you're getting single-story homes. You're not getting 2-story homes. If you want to be in a certain school district, you should be getting things like that. Also, from a networking perspective, when you talk about a company like ours, we carry a lot of listings. Chances are we're going to be showing you properties before they even hit the market. That's another competitive advantage that you want to ask when you're interviewing.
Huge plus.
Do you have access to off-market inventory? Because that's going to be nice because you're not going to have to compete with that. But a good real estate broker should take control. Guys, there is no reason for you to look at 20 houses on a Saturday. There's just absolutely no reason. All right. So what do I want you to do? I want you to look and pick the top 3 houses. Why? Because if you're telling your broker you want to look at 20 houses and during the time you're on the 15th house, well, your top 3, one of those or 2 of those may have sold by the time you get to them.
Absolutely.
So just pick the top 3 houses. You can't buy 20 houses. You can't buy 3 houses, but you can buy one of the top 3. So cut out the fat, get down to it.
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
I totally agree with that. I see a lot of people that say, you know what, I wish I had went back to that first house that we looked at because it's already pending. That's the biggest thing we've been seeing lately in the market is pending sales.
Right. So you're going to see stuff, and a good broker should get you from point A to point B. And don't be surprised if they take you to the perfect house right away because they're trained to get you from point A to point B as quick as possible. All right, guys, here we are. That's our episode for today. I want you guys to join us next week because you've lined yourself up with a great broker. You know how to search for homes. I set some great expectations for you, Amar and I have. We've told you about the questions to ask. So next week, we're going to find that house. We found that house, and we're going to be talking about making an offer. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next episode.